In the rubble of a city, a dude stands before an audience. He introduces himself. They don't get it, so he shows them his ad, and they leave in indifference.
I fail to understand your obsession with fame.
Not fame, mega fame!
One thing I really treasure about growing up with the DCAU is being socialized by its enthusiasm. It loves its characters, its world, its history with absolutely no embarrassment or irony whatsoever. Instead, it proudly adapts all the goofy stuff with charm and eloquence, from the way everyone is smiling while they walk, episodes focused on obscure nobodies, its willingness to be sad but also its ability to laugh.
You should see his underwear drawer. He folds his socks.
The first season is populated mostly by funny episodes, which was an accident, but in hindsight was a pretty good way to ease you into this insane superhero universe where magic, sci-fi technology, and time travel all exist in a commonplace way. And that's made me really curious about the deeper narrative workings of the DCAU's world building. Fictional world building can be separated into two categories. Primary worlds. Worlds which are fictional emulations of our own, at least on a macroscopic level. And there's secondary worlds, which are fantasy worlds that are totally different from our own. Subsequently, the big separation between the two is that the story is designed to either fit the world, or the world is designed to fit the story.
You'll do alright. Thank you, sir, I'll try.
Like only in an insular universe like Star Wars can you have a 19-year-old boy who's never left home know how to fly a military fighter plane and execute complex plane maneuvers with a team without spending 5 years in training. The DCAU universe is kinda weird because it includes both. It spans the Earth that resembles our own, its geographies, cultures, history, and probably tax laws too. But also it spans into other worlds that are built to fit the requirements of the author. But to approach a world critically is to go further than just simply cataloging its features, but to discuss the world in relation to something beyond. The story. This is where the main case study of this essay comes in, the Booster Gold episode. The greatest story never told. Literally. Why this episode? Because it's all about a dude who wants to be famous, and the joke is that he remains entirely anonymous, therefore it becomes a demonstration of how a place and situation defines and projects qualities onto the character, where it's not the brand of the individual hero, but it's the world itself, which creates and defines an identity.
If I were Green Lantern, my costume would be green, now wouldn't it?
Booster is desperate and excited for more high-profile work, but then suddenly Wonder Woman calls in because the Dark Lord is attacking.
Vibe.
Heroes are assembled under Green Lantern's leadership, and Booster wrangles his way in.
Doofus.
However, everyone gets called up except for him. Instead, he's relegated to crowd control.
Now wait just a... Got it.
It should also be noted that the world of JLU has a very specific vibe which oscillates between both a sense of awe over the scale of everything and a casual sense of humor from how utterly insane the mundanity of what this world would look like.
The pasta's good.
It's the sauce.
It's inherently hilarious to see superheroes who belong in completely different genres eating in a canteen, talking about normal stuff before being called to another case of the end of the world. And in this episode, it gives attention to also unflattering and undramatic concerns, like helping an old lady read a map.
If I'm reading this right, I guess you take the 7 to the B-line.
Or delivering a baby as the big battle happens off screen. Ekman and Taylor argued, a place in an imaginary world is a combination of elements of various kinds, and each place is included for a reason. It has one or more functions in the world of which it is part, and often has a function in the story as well. Metropolis, or seemingly Metropolis, because Star Labs is here,
ETA to Metropolis, 2 minutes.
is an important theatrical stage in the DCAU. Its place in the whole universe, compared to Oa, Themyscira, or even the more exaggerated gothic streets of Gotham, is more identified by its function. Metropolis encodes the world with relatable props from recognizable cars, buildings, and normal people, which can be used, thrown, destroyed, and repaired for the story. Its purpose is often more transitory. Especially in this episode, it doesn't have an identity beyond its resemblance to our own, but that vagueness is what makes it an anchor. It's not a real place, but it's also every place. As a result, the purpose of it in the episode is to create an atmosphere of humorous normality. which in turn makes Booster look even more redundant. If the world of Metropolis here wasn't so vague, generalized, and transitory, then the vibe of JLU wouldn't be so easygoing and chill. Booster's vanity would then become unacceptable. He'd be the equivalent of someone trying to take a selfie on 9/11 or something.
Here are your ants.
Thank you, Green Lantern.
Consequently, Booster's arc is rather simple. He has an ideal self, one of a celebrity as opposed to a real hero, and his self-image is right along with it because his self-esteem is so inflated. But throughout the course of the story, it gets dragged down by the truth. He finds a beautiful scientist that's accidentally created a black hole dude, and Johns dismisses Booster's report, so he takes the responsibility himself. But at every opportunity he tries to help, the universe seems to throw something at him. He even loses his only pal. Booster is then disheartened by all of this, and thus has to confess the truth. He came from the future to escape being a loser, to get rich, not to be an actual hero. But the beautiful Dr. Simmons doesn't listen, and just tells him to do it. So Booster marches to his death. He gets sucked in just to succeed. And he gets Skeets back, but his self-image has been so damaged by the lack of recognition and his failures that he doesn't accept the title of hero anymore and walks off. Elongated Man is recognized as the true hero, and Booster gets scolded for leaving his post. But then Dr. Simmons asks Booster out, so while the heroes do cleanup, he does get the girl. Booster's ideal self is no longer just a brand, something he's trying to build, but the fruits of a moment where no one else saw what he's capable of. But there's one girl, and he's still happy. The DCAU is themed around heroism. As long as the purpose of the world is under the purpose of creating stories for heroes, it doesn't really matter where they're individually from, or popularity, or what power levels they are. Everything has to vaguely interplay under the sequence. Booster Gold is not a prominent character in the show after this, he doesn't get his own episodes again, so this whole escapade has been a minor chapter in this broader Justice League Unlimited theme, where everyone can be a member, anyone can make a difference. And it's the strategic vagueness and yet mundane world that allows it to be an effective stage for whoever stands on it. Everyone are encoded and given the same respect and worth. So yeah, that was the Booster Gold video. Originally this was supposed to be a character retrospective with the episode as a case study, but then as I was making notes, I figured JLU's world building is actually way more interesting to write about, so I repurposed everything to act as an analytical demonstration of critical world building academia. Anyways, I hope you find it mildly interesting, and special thanks to everyone on Patreon, guys. I love you all.